Actually, let people know the trend. Hey everybody, welcome to the Music Monday podcast, Big Body Music Studio. My name is Gus Hergert. This is Clayton Albrecht. We're Bruce Krombholz as well. We're gonna rap about it for a while. Talk about music stuff and life and what's going on, and good feel for everything going on today. I don't know if you can hear the rain outside, but it's coming down pretty good. It's kind of peaceful. So I guess my first question to y'all, off the top of my head, is I understand if you can't give me one, but I need your desert island album. What is the one album that you would want to have to listen to if you're stranded on a desert island?
Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here.
That's a good.
It's the one I've listened to the most out of probably any record in my life anyway.
That's a good.
I don't know.
Tough one.
Yeah. I'll come back.
Come back though.
I'll come back on that one. Yeah.
What do you like about Wish You Were Here?
Man, Pink Floyd, just some of my favorite bands. When people talk about, like, nowadays they use the word, it's a vibe. Well, they do. They transport you to a place that's just, I don't know. I know it's not overtly like happy music. Some people have said this about the Dead too. The Dead's like Grateful Dead's its own thing. It's not overtly happy or sad. I would say it's certainly happier than Pink Floyd, but Pink Floyd just like teleports me. I immerse myself in the music, and it's like everything matters. There's all that space in like the beautiful palette between the synths and just a tight ass rhythm section. That is very, very undercredited.
Drum tone on that is really good too. I
think Mason's a great player. Yeah, and David's guitar, and when David's guitar does come in, it's like, it's so peaceful. He kind of tied the whole thing together and brought it to earth. Nick Mason too, I feel like.
There's fantastic songs on that album. Obviously, Shine On You Crazy Diamond. And was it Welcome to the Machine on that album as
yeah,
well?
it was track 2.
Welcome to the Machine is on there.
That's a good one. Have you seen Roger Waters do that live? Mm-hmm. You need to go to YouTube and watch him.
The record
band. Well, no, he does. Well, I don't know if he's ever done the whole record, but I saw him live with John Mann. I don't want to say it was about 2017, and he did Welcome to the Machine. Had the big screen with the crawling monster coming at you. And behind the, like, I did not expect the drums, and it's totally different than the album. And it made me like the song even more. I never really liked that song.
I can see it. Yeah,
I never really
too.
liked that song.
It's a little dark.
Until I saw him do it live, and I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, I set up for I was working at a place in Bristol, Virginia, outside of DC, with Nissan Pavilion. It's pretty big, probably about 3 times the size of Orion, maybe big.
That's big.
And we set up for him, and they did the quadraphonic sound. So they had a wall of sound. They had the seating area on the lawn, and then they had a wall of sound pointing in from the lawn, and the stage. They did quadraphonic. They had sound.
And it was mixed.
Yeah, it was mixed quadraphonic.
Yeah.
So there was shit going around in circles and everything. Pretty wild show, man. Man, I Wish You Were Here is a great selection, in my opinion. But I'm like, if I start thinking about what would I want on a desert island, it's like, I don't know. This week, I'd love to have Johnny Winter still alive and well, because I love Johnny Winter's playing.
Yeah.
But then I start thinking, well, man, if I'm stuck on an island, that's the only album I'm going to have.
Yeah, man.
It's a tough one, man.
It is, man. I started thinking that too, because I'm like, well, I might get depressed after a while. Maybe I want Bob Marley Legends, the greatest hit compilation, because I'm wore that shit out too.
I guess. You can narrow it down to genres too. I mean, I for each genre, I could probably pick.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Wish You Were Here is one of my favorite albums to just put on and clean the house to.
Yep.
It flows real nice.
I think out of all Pink Floyd albums, That's the, you know, I wouldn't want to have animals for forever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to have the Wall forever. If I was gonna have any Pink Floyd album, it would be Wish You Were Here. Most definitely.
I think so. I think I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that. Probably my favorite Pink Floyd album. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
The Wall, though, has my favorite song of all time on it. Nobody's Home.
You're the only person. Remember, I think we were working one day and I was humming that because I used to play that tune. You're the only other person I've ever met who plays that song, man.
It's probably my all-time favorite song.
Really?
Yeah.
I've always liked that song too, man. Even as a kid, and thought knowing it was like cool to like a B-side or
Yeah.
track.
Hey, what's the name of the song? It's In the Flesh. In the Flesh.
Yeah.
There's a part 1 and part 2 to In the Flesh, isn't there? We got kicked out of a bar in Virginia one time for a buddy of mine was playing acoustic at a bar, and he asked me to come up, and we're just guy played music with for years, and we started messing around with In the Flesh, and we played it. You know, we got done playing, and the bartender walked up to me. She's like, you gotta get, you're out here. And I was like, what did I do? And she's like, I hurt her feelings because the line in the song is, "Are there any queers in the audience tonight? Put them up against the wall." It's a song, man. You know,
it's a song criticizing that mentality too.
Exactly. And she 86 me out of the bar. She permanently banned me from Mike's Pub in Temple Hills, Virginia, man. I was, you know.
How many times have you played Mike's Pub?
Like, probably 3 or 4 times. But never. No, I never had a gig at Mike. We just used to.
And you never will.
And I never will. That's right.
86.
That club is probably about half the size of this room. It's just a little joint, man, in a little strip mall. You know what I mean?
What was your favorite place to play in Virginia?
In Virginia?
Yeah.
There's a 930 Club's a real popular place up there. And it's really cool spot. And it's the original 930 Club was probably my favorite place to play in DC. And the original 930 Club was the back alley where you load in your gear to 930 Club, you're in an alley and it's right next to Ford's Theater. And if you look up, there's the window that John Wilkes Booth jumped out of after he assassinated Lincoln. It's on 930 F Street. That's where it got its name. But the old 930 Club was on the first floor of this old building, and you walk in there and the place smelled like piss. Always smelled like, you know,
one of those.
And there were these
drain in the floor,
big
maybe?
columns in the room, you know. But it was cool. That was probably my favorite place to play up there, man. It was really cool. The new 930 Club is huge, man. That's a cool place too. But the old one was definitely more. It was always packed. It was always a very responsive crowd. You know what I mean?
That's a big deal when you're playing anywhere.
Oh man, yeah. And it was
you can play to a room full of people, but if they don't care,
it kind of sucks, you know. But yeah, having a responsive crowd's like, you know, if you're on stage and you're go out there to present your energy, it's got to be communal, man. If people are feeding you energy while you're playing, then you feed more energy, I think, and that's like the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that you can build off of and have a great show. You know what I mean? When you're playing the best you can play, you're having a great night, and you look out there and people are talking and nobody's looking up at you and nobody's responding. It's like
tough.
That voice, you know, why the fuck did I decide to do this with my life?
You'd rather play to one person sitting there going, "Yeah, man."
Exactly, man. Yeah, no doubt.
Even, I mean, to me, it's evidence of. I'm like a weird dude anyway, but it isn't evidence to me of something that we can't see, but it's absolutely real, like the energy of the consciousness, palpable. Because it's not even sometimes even people just cheering, but you can feel their intent, you know. And I've felt it that way sometimes when I've been at shows. It's like a guitarist or something will perform better take you to those places if they're on an improv or something on the journey, because I feel like they're getting it back.
Yeah, man.
Getting it back from the people.
That's
why I
why
find it for myself.
anytime I go to it, and I bet you hear me when I'm at shows. Yeah, I always do the same thing. Yeah. You know, try to get some energy. Because if you're in a crowd and you start yelling and screaming, more people will have to yell and scream. I'm doing it for anybody who's up there playing, man, to get everybody try to hype the crowd up.
There's not much worse than a room full of people and getting cricket. That's it. You know?
Oh, yeah. Well, and just remember you're getting paid. Try to be grateful. Always try to be grateful. Always try to be present. Some nights are harder than others. Be working on car wash. Might be having a good time at the car wash.
Well, when I worked the last car wash, I worked at 2 different car washes. I worked at Cousins and Unique. And what I hated about the last car wash I worked at Unique was the owner would fill up it was a hand wash that goes through the tunnel, and he'd follow the car and he'd scrub it down, and then it'd hit the water on the way out. But he'd fill up the soap buckets where it had the sponges that you grabbed out of them. He'd fill up the soap buckets. It'd be wintertime, and he'd fill it up with like scalding hot water. So every time you get your cold hands from going through the tunnel, and then you go dip it in the soap, but it was hot water. I mean, it's just like needles every time I ate that. Working at the car wash.
What Johnny Winter's record?
Still alive and well.
Huh?
Still alive
and well. Yeah. That's what you did. Okay.
Yeah, that was the first Johnny Winter album. When I was a kid, I just started playing guitar. My oldest sister, like 9 years older than me, and she was dating this dude, John Reese. He was a guitar player, and he was pretty good. He taught me my first pentatonic scale, you know what I mean? I was sitting in my bed, in my bedroom, and he came in and was like, hey, what's going on, man? He had long hair and shit. It's really cool. And I was sitting there with my mom's Nagoya acoustic, or it's classical guitar, and putzing around on it. I knew like 3 or 4 chords. Hey, man, you want to see something really cool? And he taught me the pentatonic scale. And then he said, we want to see somebody tonight. I'm like, who do you want to see? He's like, Johnny Winter. And he was taking my sister to see Johnny Winter, probably like 74, 75 or something. So he taught me that scale, and I remembered the scale, and I kind of idolized the guy because he was who I wanted to be. I wanted to have long hair. I wanted to be a musician and all this, that, and the other, you know. And I remember Johnny Winter, you know. So years later, a couple years later, probably 10 or 11 or something, went to Pepper and Feather, Records and Tapes at the Head Shop record store, you know. And I'm in there looking at records, and it was Johnny Winter, Still Alive and Well, man. Bought that album, took it home, listened to it with the headphones, listened to it with the headphones, listened to it with the headphones. And then the title track, Still Alive and Well. I would sit in my room and listen to that song over and over and over and over for like 2 or 3 hours.
Did you learn it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I still can't play it like Johnny Winter.
Oh, man.
But yeah, man, that was definitely probably why it's my favorite album. You know what I mean? Do you remember the first? Do you remember your first mind blowing experience listening to music? The first thing that completely blew your mind. You were like, whoa, you know.
Before or after drugs?
Before drugs. Just music. I don't know if it's relevant to drugs or not.
Beatles.
So what?
It was Kiss for me. Kiss, and my dad bought me Kiss Double Platinum and Judas Priest Screaming for Vengeance.
Yeah.
that was rock and roll, man. And then other than that, I would have to say like Tom Petty, Into the Great Wide Open.
Yeah.
Was hanging around the house with the greatest hits, Tom Petty, that stuff, and then the Beatles' White Album and the Who, Tommy.
Right
that was kind of what was in rotation at the house. And Neil Young Harvest.
Oh man, yeah.
John was jamming on that, man. It was that stuff really. I still to this day go back to all of that.
Yeah, I had 3 older sisters, and when Mom and Dad played bluegrass, they had a jug band, you know. So when I was a little kid, like literally, like when I was born until I was like 4 or 5 years old, they were playing their little circuit up in Virginia, and they were playing bluegrass festivals and these shows and everything. So I was surrounded with like bluegrass music, you know, and a shit ton of like really corny, sappy. Hee-haw was big back then, and laughing, you know. So that's the kind of stuff they were playing. They were like novelty. They were playing all this, you know, funny kind of, you know, tongue-in-cheek, you know, jug band stuff, you know. So that's what I thought music was about, because they had a record player at the house, and they were listening to a lot of bluegrass. My older sisters were listening to like Bonnie Raitt, Allman Brothers, stuff like that. That's kind of I kind of got turned on to rock music and stuff like that from then, you know what I mean? And then I started going to the record store and checking shit out.
So like what were the bluegrass instruments that lived around the house?
Mandolin, banjo, guitar, and a washboard.
Mandolin's probably my favorite bluegrass instrument because it's both percussive and melodic at the same time.
Oh yeah,
I think that's, if I could, like Chris Thiele, is that his name?
Chris Thiele, yeah. Chris Thiele. Thiele, is it Thiele or Thiele?
I don't know.
The guitar player that played with the Punch Brothers, you know the Punch Brothers.
Yeah.
His name's Chris Eldridge. He was a guitar player for the Punch Brothers, and his father, Ben Eldridge, was the banjo player for the Seldom Scene. They were a pretty popular bluegrass band. Anyhow, Ben Jr., I went to high school with, and we had a band. We were playing music, and that's how I got turned on to Chris Thiele. Was Chris Eldridge just playing guitar with him, you know? And Ben told me about him, and I went to check. I went and saw him in Birmingham in 2008, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to Ben on the phone, and Chris Curry was, you know, me and Curry were hanging out, and Ben was telling me, man, Chris is playing down in Alabama near you guys. And Chris had just seen him in Huntsville, had seen the Punch Brothers. And Chris was like, man, you got to go. And Ben's like, I was like, well, they're playing in Birmingham. I'm talking to Ben on the phone, and Ben goes, let me call you back. He calls me back. He goes, you got, you know, just go to the show. You got a ticket, that, you know, whatever, waiting for you. So I went down to Birmingham and checked them out.
Nice.
They're pretty cool. They were weird. They're a weird band. You know, they like that. Thiele, have you ever seen Punch Brothers?
No, I just listened to some of their songs.
Yeah, they're not. When I saw them, they weren't doing traditional bluegrass at all. They were doing like Beethoven shit. They were like playing, you know what I mean? They were playing like orchestra type, just out there.
Virtuoso stuff. And
yeah, it wasn't bluegrass at all. You know, it wasn't bluegrass.
There's something about bluegrass, man. It's like the talent level just seems to go up when you hear good bluegrass. I mean, the tightness of the music and the harmonies and everything about bluegrass is just really.
It is. I think it's a straight up devotion. You know, like one that I don't have as much as I love grass and how it takes me to a happy place. Maybe especially like summertime, which is I picture like being out in the woods, out in the country where I moved to from, like sitting on the porch, just like when I'm driving through the hills, like grass and like Eric Connor folky stuff. But to really delve into grass, though, it is a full-on commitment. I don't know that like I love it that much just to tackle it. It always like, you know, it always chaps your ass when there's something that you can't do. You know, or you see some jazz cat, which is another perfect example. But it's like I just don't have it in me just to devote the time it would take to to master
every one of those instruments is a craft of its own.
Yeah. And the thing that blew my mind about bluegrass from my perspective was, you know, my dad played bluegrass. They never made any money playing. You know, my dad shared the stage with like Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs and shit. You know, those guys were making money. My dad didn't make any money. And bands like the Seldom Scene, they played at Birchmere, which is a pretty notable club up in Alexandria, Virginia. Like 5 O'Clock Charlie played at the Page every Thursday night for like 15 years. You could see the Seldom Scene at the Birchmere. You know, I mean, the old Birchmere might have held 80 people, 100 people, maybe. You know what I mean? They were in there playing every week. But those cats, like, they made some money. But there was a lot of bluegrass bands out there. And a lot, like, you know, I don't know, before Elvis, a lot of music, you know what I mean? Music at one point in time wasn't like it is today. You didn't get ultra rich and, you know, expect playing bluegrass. You worked a day job and you played, you know, you went did shows on the weekend unless you were made on Sugar Hill Records or something like that. You're making, you know, you're making some money, but it's not like at one point in time, music wasn't, you know, it wasn't going to make you that much money, man, you know?
Yeah.
And still.
I'm like, I don't know, man. It sounds pretty similar. It does. I guess it was, man. But yeah, the lifelong commitment, like all the bluegrass players I met, and when I was a kid, and like they were carpenters, fucking concrete workers, or mathematicians. They all had day jobs, man. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They all worked day jobs, still did it. As far as their commitment goes, man, I don't know. I don't know if they were any more committed than we are, or they're just naturally gifted to be able to play them instruments the way they play them. You know, there's probably an element to that, but like what I guess where my perspective would be, I would be willing to bet that a lot of those cats aren't listening to like the blues and hip hop and jazz. I mean, hip hop may be a poor example for like the time, but you see what I'm getting at. Like a lot of like the out in the country, like the guys that were flat pickers and were good at it. That's all they cared about.
Well, that's all. Yeah, that's basically probably they listened. They're I don't know how. I don't know what variety of music they took in as outside of what they were playing.
Probably, and I don't mean to not give credit because there are probably bluegrass pickers that are sitting here thinking, "Dude, I listen to everything."
Well, I'm sure back in the day they were probably listening to bluegrass. They were probably listening to country. They were probably listening to country and western. You know. Most of the bluegrass players I met through my family, that's what they were listening to, and that's what they were about. You know what I mean?
Man, I don't think they were listening to old country too, man. Something about the playing of the steel guitar, you know.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of that in today's. I mean, you get some of it, but you don't get the tear in the beer nowadays.
No.
Which is, I mean, Zach Top's not doing it, but he's bringing back some older like. I don't even know if you want to call it 90s old, I guess.
There's a hunger for it, man. I think
he's sticking to some roots, you know.
There's a subconscious movement. It's going to be subconscious for the general population first before they realize what it is they're lacking or what they're missing. But I do think that, I mean, we all know that good music's out there because we listen to it and we try to play it, you know. But a lot of like even the mainstream listener is gravitating towards more of like the country guys that are your Zach Tops or your Sturgills. You know, he wouldn't categorize himself as country either, but you know what I'm getting toward. Yeah. You know, there's reasons Chris Stapleton's so big. You know,
never. I mean, God, huge amount of respect. Right, he did the best rendition of the national anthem I think I've ever heard as of recently. I don't know. There's something about Chris Stapleton I just can't get into.
I get it, dog. I got people like that too. Like I like Elvis is like that for me. Like my mom.
I'm sure he'd be a cool guy to hang out with and play music with, but he just hasn't captured me on what I've heard from him. That said, I haven't really dug too much in. I just heard the more popular stuff and some older school guys.
Do you think it's because he sings so big?
That's
all the time.
A lot of scream singing going on.
Or the the R&B like bending like all the time, you know.
You don't have to run so many notes for me to like it, you know.
It's at some point in time, if you're a made musician, you know what I mean? Elvis, Beatles, whoever, you know. You come up poor, you're a musician, and you're writing your material. If you're writing your material and you're a musician, you're writing from that perspective, right? And then all of a sudden, fucking overnight, everybody knows who you are. Everybody's fucking blowing smoke up your ass. And you got 1 million friends and you got a bunch of money. What does that do to you as a writer? What does it do to you as a, you know, I mean, you know, can you conform to people telling you, you know, blowing smoke up your ass and telling you what to do and then telling you it's all about the money and telling you it's all about this shit that you know nothing about because it's all new to you because you never had a fucking thing. And all of a sudden you got everything. I mean, you know, what the fuck would that do to you? I don't know.
I think about it sometimes.
I think about it all the time because I think to myself when I was a kid, I always wanted to gotta get signed. I want to make it big. Want to make it big. Now looking back, I'm like, if I'd have made it big, I'd be dead right now, man. You know what I mean? I'd be dead.
I mean, there's some truth.
I'd be too excessive and fucking I would have OD'd on
exactly.
something. You know, crash the car.
I always used to want to be big and famous, but I think I've come to terms with the fact that I feel like I'm successful at what I do, and feel like I do a good job at what I do. So I feel like, I don't know, I would, it'd be nice to have more people listen to my stuff, but that's all about I'd really want to get out of it. Money would be nice, of course, but the only other big side I can see from that is having a bunch more people that listen to me.
Yeah, I would like more money and enough money to be able to keep doing it more and bigger. And then having the people that enjoy it, like having a wider reach where you can touch people the way that you can touch positively in life. I've thought about it a bit. Like, expectations change as you get older, and you look around. And what a lot of people don't realize too is international touring acts. Like the big dogs that. I'm not talking about a big dog like Justin Bieber or Taylor Swift or something like that. But I mean, I was going to say Billy Strings, but I don't know. He's probably doing all right. Let's think of someone else that's maybe like, it may not be what people think, unless you kind of have that.
Talking about people still hauling their own gear?
Yeah, man. I'm trying to think of another band too. I'm sure at one time Wilco was that, but they've had the longevity where they're probably like making money, at least Tweety, but never as much as what people think. People that are hauling their own gear. Just because millions of people are listening to and buying your music doesn't mean you have $1 million. Like, There's a lot of touring dudes who make as much or less than what I do, but they have made it, right?
I wonder, if Taylor Swift is making the same per stream as we're making per stream. I think that's happening.
I don't know. I mean, the quantification is there that it's like so many times more.
Right.
For the fraction of the penny. Where they
she's making a fraction of the penny per stream.
Make dollars, but she goes out and does the touring thing. I would suppose as much as they do because they have to. I would think.
Yeah, and that's where they make their money. But gosh, she spends a bunch of money too on the tours. I mean, she's making a lot of money, but actually, I heard that she gave her truck drivers like an extra $100,000 or something for tour.
I wonder what someone like that. That is cool.
I mean, that's showing the love. Right
I wonder what they actually own.
I don't know.
Do they actually own anything?
You know something, man? James, that place I was saying that I was working, it's Jiffy Lube Live now. It was Nissan Post Pavilion. I was working operations and stagehand now. You ever worked stagehand at a show?
Not anything bigger than
well, Okay, so when we did the stagehand thing, at the end of every show, we'd load in, they'd do the show, we'd load all the gear out, and we go back to the stagehand room where all the stagehands, we get paid every night. At the end of the show, we get paid and the tour manager would come back of the band would come back for every fucking band we ever did with a box of T-shirts. It would be a tour shirt that says crew on it. Crew members that usually whoever loads the gear out, they get a shirt from the show, right? So the stage manager comes back with a box of shirts. Here you go, thanks guys, boom. Band gets in their trucks and they leave. James Taylor, when we did work the James Taylor show, James Taylor comes back with a box of shirts and he brings it in and he sat down with us all. And he just sits in there and shook everybody's hand, started talking to us, man. That's cool. Then James Taylor's road manager comes in. He's like, come on, James, we got to go. And he's like, give me a couple minutes. And the tour manager leaves the room and James Taylor sits back down. He's like, fucking make him wait another 20 minutes. He just sat in there and boy, that was so cool, man. That was the coolest thing. That was like gratitude, man, to me. I never got $100,000.
That's the down to earth, though.
But that was pretty cool, man.
From big names,
Yeah. It means a lot when you feel like an artist could be that way or see that they could be that way. Billy Strings, I think, would be an example of that. Someone he seems really cool, and he seems very grateful for what he has, and probably makes a conscious effort of not letting it get too big-headed or big for his britches. You know?
I seen those videos of him fishing with Les Claypool. Like, man,
yeah, right. Right. But yeah, man, expectations changed. My kid changed everything for me. You know, there were all these things that I thought that I wanted and still do, but I would want them on my own terms now. You know, like I don't want to be on the road all the time. I do want to be on the road. I used to think I wanted to be on the road like real bad, like all the time. And I think like a couple weeks on, a couple weeks off would be really cool.
Right.
To have a more relaxed thing like that. Maybe to never have a label. And, you know, Jesse Wells is doing it. That's the coolest thing. Saw him at the Ryman with my mom a couple weeks ago.
I saw that, man. I saw that.
He's turned me out of that guy. I like him. It took me a minute to warm up to him.
Man,
the more I see his videos, the more I'm just like, I like what this
It's
guy
not
doing.
just the singing the new stuff either, which those are great. It's obviously very poignant and strikes a chord with a lot of people when he's touching on the political or social political worldwide stuff. But it's just writing from the heart, just regular Joe shit.
I saw him on Rogan.
Good.
You know? And Rogan asked him how he goes about writing songs. And he says, pick a topic, write 2 pages, and condense the 50 words or less.
There you go.
That's exactly that's how he writes it. That's how he says he
Oh,
writes
yeah,
the
the
songs
singing
and
stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I find like, when in my writing, I don't know, just for me personally, the songs with the fewer amount of words seem to be a little better for me, rather than having a jumbled page or having to, maybe it's the memorization thing because of the lyrics and the hardest part for me to memorize. So maybe that's why I like to write songs with the least amount of words. But something about the simplicity of things, as far as lyrics and chords go, I gravitate towards more than the complex stuff.
Do you think, because I know I do it, do you think musicians complicate the shit out of things more so? I know, like, when I simplify everything, the end result, everybody likes it much more than, you know, when I simplify something, and I think it's okay, this is just a time killer, this is just something I'm going to do, bam, throw some lyrics on it or whatever, I'm not thinking so much about it. Love that song.
Maybe it's because it's more relatable. Maybe because what you're trying to say, comes out in less words and leaves more space in between those words for people to make their own attachments.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's that. What I'm discovering too is sometimes I'll get real in my head, like what we're talking about now, and I'll be thinking over here, criticizing myself. I'm like, damn, dude, you do pack a lot of lines, and that are, and I know this. I spent a lot of time trimming fat, but sometimes there's like, I can't not say this. Or a lot of the bands I think I grew up with, like the punk rock stuff, they packed a lot of stuff in too. You know, it wasn't as much about writing a pop song or concise, but when that does happen, though. Like, there is a happy medium, and there's a time and place for everything. Yeah, I guess what I was getting to is, like, there are no hard set rules. It's like when it feels good.
Right.
I don't know if does this happen to you when you get into the vocal booth? Like, you could have something written, maybe even been playing it out, and you get in the booth and you hear it back, you're like, yeah, I need to change that line. That word doesn't sound right coming out of my mouth, or it doesn't feel right anymore. Sometimes,
yes. Sometimes. A lot of that, most of that for me comes, though, with, like, simple things such as ands and buts and stuff like that. Yeah. Words like that. Like, yeah, you don't have to say that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That happens, too.
I'm finding out lately, because years ago, when I was writing my lyrical content on music, I was playing in a band. It was easy for me to spit it out in rehearsal and then kind of trim it as I was rehearsing it, right? You know what I mean? And then done deal, 2, 3 rehearsals down the road. This is how it's going to be, you know, trim it like that. And now, what I'm doing right now is I'm sitting in my house, writing stuff by myself, and then spitting it out on a little. I got like a little Zoom, like a little Porta Studio thing, just spit shit out on them, whatever. And man, it was easier for me to do it the other way than doing it this way, because I'm not I like bouncing. I like writing with people more than by myself. You know what I mean? I'm challenging myself to do everything by myself for a while, just because right now I'm not playing with anybody.
Sometimes co-writes can be easier for me, and sometimes they can be harder.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on who I'm writing with. But when you sit down, do you automatically start like I'll just start singing stuff? Is that what you're talking about? You just start singing random stuff, like whatever comes to mind, and
Well, no, I'll write. Like when I'm writing, I'll generally come up with a musical idea, and then I'll start writing to it. You know.
Right on.
But I think when I'm playing music with people and I'm doing that, in most of the bands I rehearsed with, we got a PA that you can't hear the vocals anyhow. I mean, kind of hear them, you know. So it's easier for me to kind of rehearse and sing. I could ad lib all kind of shit and say, okay, this is gonna fit. What do I say? Okay, this will fit. This will fit. When I'm doing it by myself, and you know, the first time I sing anything, basically I'm recording it. Then I got to listen back to it, you know. And I'm critical. Like I'm my own worst critic.
Oh,
always.
Sure.
I think all musicians probably fall under that, but I'm not bouncing ideas off of anybody else. So nowhere do I have anybody sit there and criticize what I just did or praise what I just did. It's just me, and I'm probably going to criticize what I just did.
Do you think you're editing yourself before it's time to edit? Does that make sense? Like, well, for me, like I'm trying to get over this. I was just talking with another writer too of well, I say trying to get over it. I think it's a good thing to do too. I think editing yourself as you go is not bad. Again, there's no rules, but sometimes it can be constrictive. It's like maybe I just need to just get it down and keep going rather than be like, oh, this is lame, or what would my so and so songwriter friends think? You know,
I find some of my better songs are written that way, rather than like getting hung up on something, and then because I know if I get hung up on something, my creativeness comes at the weirdest times, man. Like, you know, it's like, okay, I gotta grab a guitar, gotta grab the notebook, you know, close the door. All right, let's do this. And sometimes it's like it flows, and then sometimes it's like, well, it's gone. And it's gone. You know.
Mine's always, man, when I have to do something else. You know, because I thought the morning was my most creative time, because when I had to go to work in the morning and I got 20 minutes and I'm sitting there, okay, I got 20 minutes to kill, burn another cigarette, drink some more coffee, pick up my guitar and start messing around. I start getting on to something, and then I got to put it down and go to work, go out the door. So I thought, well, maybe it's the morning, you know. So on days when I'm not working, I'm like fucking awesome the night before. I'm gonna fucking have all morning to create shit. Then I wake up and I'm like fishing. You know, there's nothing biting, you know. All right.
I could force one out, man, but they never seem to be as good for me.
But lately, my thing has been when I'm with my girl, you know, I got guitars over at her place, you know, so we'll hang out over there on the weekend if we're not going out or whatever. And I'll pick up stuff. I'll pick up my instrument, and I'm just coming up with great musical ideas like this over there, you know.
You start
so
music,
now, say what?
You start music first. Is that the first thing?
Yeah, yeah.
You start with a riff.
So now I'm thinking, well, I'm gonna bring my recorder over, so when I come up with shit, I did that last weekend, and like last Saturday, and the next morning I'm playing, and she's like, "Man, well, do what you were doing last night. That sounded really cool," you know. And I'm like,
"Do you remember? Are you able to remember?"
No, I don't remember. Not a bit of it. Nope.
So for y'all, in order of like. One being the most times that it will happen this way, to three being it doesn't really happen that way very often. Do you start with a riff or a chord progression? Do you start with lyrics, or do you do it at the same time?
Yeah, the most likely for me being the chord progression or a melody, and then oftentimes I'll hear a lyrical melody in my head, and then it's just kind of getting the words to fit. But it really, all of them happen. Sometimes, very few times is it just lyrics and then music around it, or even if it is just music, a lot of the time it's the melody, and I have to chase it with the instrument and hope that I'm getting it. And I don't know, maybe I'm getting better at it, maybe I'm not. But then pretty often too of like it happening at the same time.
Yeah, I would say more often than not, I'll have a riff or a progression, and then same time, but very rarely, on occasion, but very rarely do I get words first. It's really my toughest part of writing a song for me is the words. I don't know. I'm sure some people that's not the case, but for me that is totally the case. I have a hard time figuring out what I want to say.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'll have ideas, maybe subject matter, or maybe the music will be like, okay, this one might be, you know, you're not trying to betray them. Like if you write like this like nasty riff or something, it's like generally not going to be like a love song or something like that, or something that betrays it. But more and more, I've been trusting my stream of consciousness kind of thing, because over the years, like I said, I'll have like maybe a specific topic in mind, like this is going to be like this, and it's going to serve the music well, and then, like I said, I'll hear a lyric or melody almost immediately a lot of the time that doesn't change that much, and then it's kind of just getting the pieces to fit. But I'll start writing down now more often the first words that just come, which is usually like the first two lines, which dictates the whole thing. And I'll write it and I'll be like, that is not what the fuck I wanted to talk about or sing about. Like, what even is this? Is it even coherent? And
you can make it though.
Well, yeah, you can make it. You can cut it, mold it into shape and all that. But a lot of the time, like the story, I'll wonder what it's about, and I'll be like, oh my god, it is. It's about this, and I'll wonder where inside of me it came from. Like it may not be like about my life. They say like write what you know. You know, even if you're writing a story song, write what you know, feeling wise, and have experience. But there's been shit, man, where I've wondered. I'm like, what is that? You know, like The Wait was a song about nothing that everybody wanted so much to be about something, and it definitely is, but it isn't. You know. But I'll like life. Some years will go down the line, and I'll hear one of my songs would be out there playing, and I'll be like, oh my god. That's about what I'm going through right now. Like I finally get it. And that's cool. So I'm trying to trust just the stream of consciousness thing, or even if the words just sound pleasant and they're not necessarily this coherent story, you know, because I want to be the storyteller, be a good songwriter all the time, you know?
Right.
I'll come up with music, or I'll come up with a vocal melody. I'll come up with a vocal melody sometimes before I come up with music, and I'll write the music to the vocal melody.
Yeah.
But it's not the words I'm going to use. I'll come up with a vocal melody, you know?
Gotcha.
Because, you know, you've worked with me before. I'm like, running around fucking just being a dumbass all day, humming shit all day. And sometimes something will stick, and then I'll be, well, this morning, remember we were deep out? What did I have? I had one song going in my head. You had something else. I was humming it all morning. That shit will happen to me all day. Man, I'll get Christmas songs in my head.
She's in Texas.
Christmas in July.
I'll have like jingle bells in my head all summer working. I'll be humming it. You know, I don't know. Somebody said, yeah, you're psychologically wishing you weren't sweating your ass off. I'm like, maybe that's it. I don't know. But yeah, man, sometimes it's a vocal melody. I'll be like, that's really cool. I'll have that stuck in my head, and then I'll write, write music to it. But lyrics, they're always like, you know,
how often, like, would you say y'all do chorus / hook first, or y'all start on the very top and go from the verse most of the time?
Usually the verse.
Start from the top. That's probably, yeah. Very, very rarely do I have
50-50 on that, man.
Oh, nice.
Nice. You know, a lot of the times it'll be the hook, chorus hook, and then I'll write to it, you know.
I feel like that's when the best songs come from me.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'll typically be. Oh, go ahead. What were we talking about?
Oh, writing the hook or chorus first versus taking it from the top.
You typically do the verse, chorus.
No,
thing?
I typically take it from the top.
Yeah.
But when the ones come like from the chorus or the hook first, I feel like I don't know if they're any better of songs, but they definitely stick with me in my head, a little more catchy to me if they're done that way, if they're done from the chorus hook first.
If y'all get started on lyrics, how like do you commit to finishing it within, say, like, would you lose interest after a month?
If I don't finish a song in like 4 hours, I'm probably not ever going to come back to it. I don't know. I just feel like if I can't get it done in 4 hours, like I've been trying lately to cut that down to 3.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll be in there for 4 hours.
Yeah. I wrote fast. I came up with a cool melody, wrote lyrics to it, made a whole song, wrote lyrics to it, recorded the melody, put the lyrics on top of it, and as soon as I put the lyrics on top of it, took the lyrics off of it, and they're sitting waiting for another song.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it ain't gonna work with this, you know. The song didn't feel, the music did, the music structure didn't fit the emotion of the lyrics. I was like, this is gonna have to be for something else.
Yeah.
When I was writing it, it all worked out great until I heard it, and I was like, no, it's not.
Well, sometimes I will have an unfinished song that's been sitting around for a while, and if I can't come up with like a bridge for the one that I'm working on, I'll go rip that out of another song, man. Even if it don't make sense, I'll finish the song I'm working on by stealing from another.
I've been going back to stuff I kicked around 30 years ago, just like bits of songs and everything that I never did anything with, and rehashing that. So,
Nice.
Which is cool, because I mean, I never forget anything I wrote. I mean, I will forget stuff, but things that I'll forget riffs. If I'm sitting around playing a riff, come up with a cool idea, and if I don't jot it down, I'll forget it. Yes, but things years ago that I kicked around for, you know, long enough to be like, I'm going to turn you on to it. We're doing a song out of this, or I wrote a complete song out of it. Lyrics, music, the whole shebang, and never recorded it or didn't do anything with it. Now I'm taking those ideas and I'm like taking lyrical content off of one song, putting it on another structure, or taking the structure musically of something and, you know, just scratching a clean canvas to put different lyrics on top of it. So yeah, I like ripping myself
Getting some
off.
good results that way?
Huh?
Getting some good results?
I think so, yeah.
Nice.
Man. Yeah.
It's always good to recycle, I think. I don't think you should let anything die.
Yeah.
No, I've heard multiple times from writers is like, finish your songs, or just a little now on Facebook on the algorithms of, you know, I'll just like see the headline and be like, nope, not going to read that one, know what it's about. Because I've read so much stuff on songwriting. Like, I think I lent you this huge ass songwriters on songwriting, which is a great read.
I went and bought my own copy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I think my favorite one that I've read so far was the Randy Newman one.
Randy Newman's was really cool.
He'll wake up, he writes a song a day.
Yeah.
He wakes up, writes a song. And that, if I could do that, I would be doing some work. That would be great. He's a professional songwriter. I am not.
Yeah.
Basically what it boils down to. I don't have time to wake up every day and dedicate. I mean, I guess I could if I got my ass up a little bit earlier, but that's kind of tough when you get home from the.
I was watching this Townes Van Zandt, this interview thing with Townes Van Zandt. He was talking about he was in Texas living with like 2 other songwriters, and they all got sick, and they were taking turns to go down to the corner drugstore to get Robitussin.
Yeah, Guy and Suzanne, I think.
Whatever it was.
Guy
you see that,
Clark?
He fucking dreamed a song, lyrics and the music and everything, and woke up and like went to wherever the other 2 roommates were and was like, I wrote one last night in my sleep, and he played it. And the guy, because these guys were all writing songs together, I guess they were like, where'd you come up with that? That's awesome. He goes, I dreamed it last night.
How crazy is that?
You know. And he's like, where'd you come up with the music? I dreamed that too. It was wild. It's like, fuck, I wish I could do that, man.
Yeah.
You know?
What'd you dream last night, Gus? Well, I fallen and I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
You know?
I've dreamed chord progressions and forgot when I woke up and been like, damn it. That was cool.
there was this place when I was a kid, like 13, 14 years old. I'd go out in the woods, and there was this field, and then there was this hill with all these pine trees, and there was a difficult run, was a little river right here, and the highway was probably 2 miles away, I guess. And I would sit there, and I would smoke a bunch of weed in this little pine tree, this little nook of these pine trees. I'd just sit there, man. And something between the river, hearing it, and hearing the traffic and everything, I discovered that And I still think to this day that that's what it was. But it sounded almost like in the distance there was somebody playing a radio out a window somewhere, you know. And it's the coolest fucking progressions and the coolest music. And I discovered that one day back in this little nook I used to smoke weed at, you know. I used to go back there every day and smoke and just sit there and wait. And bam, and all of a sudden I'd start hearing it, you know. And it was cool. And I'm convinced it was just the sound waves from everything that was going on, you know.
I do think sound plays a big role
It
in
does.
our existence. I think everything's tied together with electronics.
If I'd have been smart, I'd have brought a guitar back there with me or something. Actually,
Picked up on the way.
I know.
It
Nope.
does.
Maybe it was a weed. I forgot to bring my headband on that. You know?
No, the geographical settings absolutely inform the music. I think even before a scene is developed, I mean, like, it makes very much sense to me that bluegrass music would come out of the Appalachians, you know, and just the Southeast in general. Just the twang and everything and the hum of the bugs. They sound like what the instruments sound like a little bit, you know.
Yeah, they all went to church. You know, there's all kind of gospel in bluegrass, man.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of gospel, a lot of life and death. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know?
definitely the Afro influence too.
Yeah.
Churches before they even realized it.
Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah, songwriting, man. I've got ones that'll take, like, if I finish this song in 3 weeks, lyrics I'm talking about. Music's the fun part for me, right? I can be at home with the TV on and come up with, you know, stuff on the guitar and exciting chord progression like all the time. But lyrics is like, here we go. Usually I've got to be sober, you know, and devoted to it. But I like to finish as much as I can in one time, but I don't press myself like too much onward. I mean, it can take me an hour to just get a verse sometimes. And sometimes it takes that hour of staring at the page and maybe even only having a line to, like the muse likes to find you working, right? To get those parts of your brain turning where you're in writer's mode, you know?
Yeah,
And, then things click longer, but if it happens 3 weeks, I'm stoked. If it's 3 days, that's great. I've got songs that'll take years, but I will come back to them if it's something that keeps interesting me, if it's something I keep returning to.
Man, for me, it's kind of like songwriting, especially lyric writing. It's like a bad case of gas. You know what I mean? You know when you get a bad case of gas, you just start farting. You just fart. That's how it is with me with lyrics.
Yeah.
It's like I won't be able to come up with nothing. It's almost like I got flock, and all of a sudden, blah, blah, happened a long time out. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. You know?
Yeah,
I wish I had gas
and then it just goes away. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
no, that's what I'm saying. That goes back to that
man.
creative thing. Once it hits me, it's like I gotta get it on the paper.
Yeah, man.
It doesn't matter where I'm at. If I don't go and try and get it on the paper, it's gonna go away. And then I'm not gonna remember it.
Do you not write in, you know, so you don't write in your head much? You have to write it down?
Yes, even like writing a song. If I'm playing and singing, I'm like, oh, that sounds good. If I don't put it down, I am not gonna remember. I can most of the time remember the chords, but most of the time I'm not gonna remember what I said.
Do you think that putting it down and not critiquing it and manipulating it after you put it down is better? Or do you do like I do and I'll write something and I'll change it? That could be better. I don't like this just it's all right, but it could be a little bit better and then I fuck it up.
Lately, I have been, before I cut a demo to a voice memo or whatever, I have been kind of critiquing my writing and changing things.
Yeah.
But for the longest time, it was once it's done on paper, that's it. It's done.
That's it. Yeah.
Because you can spend however long you want making it what it is, but for me, once it's on paper, that's my song for the most part.
Yeah, I understand. I understand that. I understand both thoughts very well. Or, you know, it all resonates and makes sense. I know it's different for everybody too. It's an individual process thing, or some people have tendencies. I'm glad, like, y'all, at least we're not here speaking in absolutes, because that shit drives me crazy, you know. And that's how I felt after reading so much of the songwriter like approaches stuff for years. You know, it's like now it's like I don't need to see anymore. Like, it interests me, like it tickles me, but I'm not as so effective if someone's like, "This is the way."
There is no way. There's no rules.
Yeah. That's right.
That's
There's no rules, man. That's what I couldn't stand. I went to a songwriters thing down at, I was at the furniture factory, and they were bunch of songwriters came in there, and they had two successful writers from Nashville, and they had to pick the best song of the night, you know? And I watched these two guys critique the 4 or 5 guys that went up to play their song. And I disagreed with the whole thing that was going on there, because these guys that are successful were telling the guys that were bringing their material up there to play it, oh, you didn't sing it the right way, you need to do it like this, or your song had this, that, and the other. And I'm like, music doesn't have any rules. This is his song, this is how he's presenting it, and you're saying it's no good because what? Because in your opinion it's not going to make money in Nashville?
That's what I was getting at. Do you think it's because they're used to writing for the machine?
Yeah, I think they were judging what they were hearing on how much money it would make. It's like, I don't write songs. I mean, I want to be a successful musician, of course, and make a bunch of money and all that crap. Sure, that's been my dream my whole life. When I write music, you don't tell a painter how the fuck he's going to paint. Why are you going to tell a musician what the hell he's going to write, and how he's going to approach it, and how he's going to do it, and how he's going to present it, man? That's his music. Dylan didn't have a great voice. He didn't have any problem selling albums. You know?
He hadn't
like,
either.
Say what?
He said he hadn't either.
Yeah.
Didn't have a great voice, didn't have a problem selling albums.
Yeah, man. You know?
That's somebody I could honestly, I got tremendous amount of respect for Bob Dylan. Obviously. I mean, if you don't, I don't see how that's possible. But could never really, he was never somebody I wanted to always just, listen to.
Right.
It wasn't kind of really my thing. But
yeah, I mean, I can't.
Maybe it's the words. Maybe it's all those words.
So what now?
Maybe it's all those words.
Yeah.
That goes back to me. I gravitate towards the simplicity or something.
Yeah.
Man, I always miss out on things when I pee. Cut the bladder of an 86-year-old woman. Who are you talking about? Bob Dylan?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're talking about how I was telling him about seeing a songwriter showcase, and the 2 guys that were judging were 2 writers from Nashville, and how they critiqued the songwriters.
I participated in something like that.
You might have been up there. I can't remember. It was at Furniture Factory.
Yeah, that's the one.
And it was pissing me off, because how can you critique? How can you? Art? It's like, don't tell him how. It just the whole scene bugged me. I'm like, well, what the fuck?
I did it, and I made it past the little first round was inside, and then the second round was outside, and I made it past the rounds. And I remember they had the music audit for the city of Huntsville,
right
over there at Yellowhammer Brewery on the night I was supposed to be back to play another song.
Right.
And I was like, well, as much as I want to do that, I think it's more important for me to go see what they're talking about at this music audit.
Right on.
And I'm glad I did that. A lot of people showed up that night. I was surprised at how many people from Huntsville really cared to see what another country has to say about Huntsville, Alabama music.
Well, I mean, I guess, okay, one aspect, if you're going to have somebody who's successful making a bunch of money writing songs critique your music, so you're going to take that information and you're going to apply it to the way you write music, so that it may make money.
Right.
I mean, maybe that's cool, but if it's gonna take from you anything, it's gonna rob you of your creativity, of your individuality. I don't agree with it, man. But that's just me,
I feel you. That's what I think I was getting to before. It can be really inhibiting if you're just sitting there with all of these critics in your head, or wondering, whether it's a musical peer or what it's like read from online, or someone at the judges table like judging your song. And
well, to me, if it puts a drop of I'm not good enough, if it gives a drop to anybody of I'm not good enough, then it's not doing them any good. Or maybe if that's the way they receive it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I made it to the finals in that, and I was up there with some, good writers. Chris Garrison won the thing, and well-deserved good writer, everybody who was there, I'd argue, good writers, or they probably wouldn't be doing the thing anyway. But
he had some good stuff. What happened to him? I haven't seen any of his music.
I don't know. He might be doing his own thing still.
Yeah, I hope he is. I like this
I do too. I do too. Yeah, I do too. But I have basically, I remember the final, whatever, the finals, telling the artists basically exactly that, to take everything, I thanked the judges for their insights, and I was like, for what it's worth, I'm probably not going to take all your advice. I remember having this one tune, I don't remember which one, but they couldn't find anything wrong with it other than like it was long, and I tend to not write shorter songs anyway. They tend to clock in around like 4 minutes average, but they're like, the younger guy, the judges, he's like, I don't know what verse you would cut though, because it all like takes it to make the story. I'm like, so is there something wrong with it, or it's just your pop sensibilities, your proclivity towards the industry, making money,
exactly,
quantification telling you that it's too long?
Yeah, is it radio edit? Is it radio worthy?
Right.
Yeah.
I just basically imparted the other artists. I'm like, man, just, keep doing you. And it does. It takes it was like putting on your armor going up there, getting ready for.
Do you? Yeah. That's the main thing.
Flaming arrows getting shot at you.
Because, there's nothing, dude, when I go see an artist and they're playing their song and they're playing from the heart, it's the most intimate thing you can get. You know how much more, how more connected you feel to somebody when they're basically on a stage. You're seeing their heart. You're hearing who they are, man. You know what I mean? If all that gets manipulated, it's like, like different kinds of music. When you don't get that, when I don't get that, I still like different kinds of music. Yeah. I like stuff that's got a really hard edge and everything, and the lyrics are strategically, they're placed in there because that was what the guy's writing, because he wants to amp people up and he wants everybody to be having a good time, be it happy, sad, fucking pissed off, whatever it is. That's cool. But if it's a fucking solo artist with a 6-string or a piano or whatever he's playing,
that's when I get
singing something, that's like, you know what I mean? That, to me, that's like,
and
you can't, that's priceless to me. That is so fucking cool.
Yeah, that's laying it all out there.
Yeah, but unfortunately,
in those situations, you also you can hear the audience through the way they intake what they're seeing.
Yeah.
You can feel the room.
Yeah.
You feel everybody feeling what you're feeling at the same time. I think that's great.
It was a great feeling when it lands, for sure. I don't know. You've been finding for you. I've been wondering more and more is like maybe my inclination is just to be my weird self is actually the thing that's like paying off. I mean, that has been a positive shift, at least around here, around North Alabama and Huntsville. It's like more and more often. I mean, I don't often ask people what they want to hear. Usually my running joke is I don't normally take requests unless, of course, I'm asked to do so. But I will ask people, what do you want to hear, man? When I just don't know. A lot of us do go up there without set list and go, play something original. 9 times out of 10 now.
Yeah.
That's great.
We're happy with you.
Yeah.
Nashville, Music City, you go down to Broadway and have somebody play something original, and we can't run a contract.
Doesn't surprise me. I didn't know that was a thing. They can't. They
can't.
For real.
They're not. I've never seen anybody say okay and whip one out. You know what I mean?
I don't know how many writers there actually are playing those places too.
Man,
probably more than I'd like to give credit.
It seems to be like every band I've heard on the Nashville strip and over there on Broadway they're all playing the same set list.
Yeah, but every town has a B-side. Every town has somewhere.
Have you been to the 5 spot? Catch the original.
So what?
Have you been to the 5 spot? That's a good place to go catch.
Yeah.
Go catch some good music, man. I haven't been in a while. Not since the tornadoes. I think they've rebuilt, and this cat named Guthrie Trapp has his trio playing on Wednesdays. We're actually going up this Wednesday to watch his band. I've always wanted to see him. Heck of a guitar player, but you can catch some. That's the B-sides. I feel like you're not gonna hear Tootsie's music in that room.
Yeah.
5 spot. There's a place on it.
Check out the 5 spot.
After that Jesse show, my mom and I were just wandering down Broadway, like looking for the thing. I mean, we had a good time.
Well, I think 5 spot's in East Nashville. I don't think it's a little ways from the strip.
Exit in.
Exit in. I've never been there. I've heard great things.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
I've heard great things about it.
I don't
I've
want to
still never
throw
been to
shade
the
on.
Ryman.
So I know.
I've still never been to the Ryman.
I saw me and John Mann, and who else went? John Mann is me and John Mann, and I think Paul Chassé. We went and saw Tedeschi Trucks right before lockdown, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right before, you know what I mean? Right before the lockdown, COVID and everything, man. Yeah, that was the only first time ever.
I'd like to get up there before they decide they're going to change the room. I hope they never.
Are they talking about changing?
No, probably not. But knowing my luck, I wouldn't get to go see the original Ryman.
What'd you think of it, Bruce?
It was a cool room. You know, I didn't like our seats because it's an old church, and they got, you know, you got the first floor, then you got the balcony seats and everything, but they got these big. They got these big concrete posts. I was like, that was like right in front of me, man. You know,
wicked posts.
Yeah, but it sounded really cool. Warren Treaty opened up for them, you know what I mean? But they were pretty cool for what they were doing. But it sounded great. But yeah, and I'd never been there before. I didn't purchase the ticket. Somebody else bought it. You want to go? I was like, cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, I get the right behind the post ticket. No wonder it was a free.
Got to creep it into the house.
Yeah, man.
Who's y'all's favorite? Not favorite. Who biggest influences on guitar? For me, I think I'd have to say Mark Knopfler or David Gilmour.
Yeah. I think Gilmore's probably no secret for either of the two of us. The huge influences.
I would say Johnny Winter.
Johnny Winter, baby.
Derek
Johnny Winter,
Trucks.
Warren Haynes. You know,
Yeah.
I listened to Too Much Mule for so long. You know.
I recently just bought a new pedal. It's called Nuix or Nux or whatever. I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's supposed to be like a JCM 900 pedal.
I saw one of them. Yeah, man.
I'm trying to, in the new band, the Argots I'm playing in, we got a few Government Mule songs we're doing. And I'm trying to like blend that in with the Klon to get my Warren Haynes too. I'm still messing with it, but
Crank the mids, man. Crank the mids up.
You like his tone?
I do. But I don't play humbuckers though, so that's really probably going to hinder me on what I'm trying to achieve. But
Gilmour, man.
I love Warren.
Gilmour's such man. Talk about putting the right note in the right place.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, dude, he's like such a simplistic player too.
Mm-hmm.
God bless, he's got such a knack for putting everything right where it just needs to be, or it works out so well for him.
Something that always is going to resonate with me for the rest of my life, as far as guitar playing goes, is something Scott Johnson told me. He said, if you can't sing it, don't play it.
Yeah.
And that's really, I've tried to,
That's a generally good rule of thumb, with exceptions.
Yeah, Ingve must be a hell of a singer.
He's a good example of just what I don't like. I have no proclivity toward that. Even when I was like in my metal phase and thrash fit, never liked Ingve or I wasn't listening to Metallica for the solos.
He's a one-trick pony. You know what I mean? Every song was like, the first song was kind of cool, it was impressive. Then every song was like the same thing, same riff over. I mean, I don't know, whatever.
You like to be able to feel something, and often the best guitar solos are their vocal lines. Like, I think us three know this and recognize this, but it moves you, and it mimics the way that like a singer would sing. Like, we take breaths when we talk.
Mm-hmm.
We don't, generally aren't spitting things out.
Space between notes is much more important than a note.
Right? Straight wiggity woo all night, man. And I just you kind of lose me. And I'm guilty of it. I'll do it. I'll freaking play way too many notes and have a good time doing it.
Sometimes a lot of notes is cool if it's a part of something bigger. You know what I mean? Like if you're doing something that's building up to something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to crescendo into something.
Right.
But just as wank for 3 minutes or whatever, it's like, all right.
It'll wear you out too in concert if I'm listening to a guitar player that's like that.
Ear fatigue is a real thing, especially in the studio.
Yeah.
You can only, for me personally, we did some long days a couple of weekends ago down in Montgomery. We were doing 10-hour days in the studio, 19-hour days. I'm not used to that.
Yeah, used to those, yeah.
That's a lot. But,
they go by really fast for me.
Had to do it.
But different different situation. You know, it's like, holy shit, it's been 10 hours already. We should probably wrap it up.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it goes by in a flash.
What's your favorite part of recording an album?
Oh, none of it. No, I'm just kidding.
You done?
Oh gosh, probably like all of it. With not that like the mixing is not the most like fun, but I really enjoy the mixing process. We tend to be pretty hands on in that. Mastering, not at all. Mail that off, or letting them do whatever they're doing behind the curtain. But I don't know, man. Tracking is so great, and I didn't want to say as a guitarist, I already have like a lot of self awareness about how guitarists are like looked at as egotistical, like fucking guitarists. But Guitar Day, man. I mean, 'cause I play guitar. Like, you get to go in and get guitared in, do your overdubs, and tracking's done.
My favorite part is that's keeper.
Right?
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's it, man.
That's a keeper.
Playback
That's
is always
keeper.
fun in the through the reference monitors. It's just you can really smile, and the whole band's just sitting there nodding their head, listening and enjoying it, and not just hating yourself. That's a highlight. What about you?
I think right before mix day,
Yeah.
when everything's complete and you get to hear all the parts, but they're not quite where you want them to be yet, but they're all there, and you get to hear the song in its entirety of how it's going to be, and then you got to place the puzzle pieces together. I think that's my favorite part. I'm not the best at mixing, that's for sure, but it's probably my favorite part, especially being so hands-on the way we do it. I really enjoy sometimes having to have a couple other people pushing mute buttons in between, in between things, or it's just the mixing is probably my favorite. But my favorite part of the album is right before mix, when all the parts are done and you kind of throw the faders up and you go, okay, how do we want it to really sound? I think that's my favorite part. And I really enjoy spending time with the roughs right before that, or just all the way up to that, just learning the song, getting to learn the song, because I'll write the song, I'll forget the song, I'll chart the song and relearn it to go in and record it.
Okay, truck radio.
Record it.
Pandora.
And then it'll be turn on the radio, baby, and then we'll record it and I'll forget it again, and then I'll have to relearn them for the show. It's like, but my favorite part is getting to relearn the songs after all the parts have been put down and right before mixing. I feel like that's my favorite.
That's going on, man. I had a lot of fun. On the first All Us Ions record, well, the only All Us Ions record at this moment. We're in the studio right now. We're Clearwave in Decatur with Jeremy
Stevens, baby. Decatur, Alabama.
Having a really good time. There's a reason so many of the cats around here go to him. Very fair rates. Really cool dude and cool space.
It is a cool space, cool dude. I mean, that's just a warm room.
It is, man.
Feels like home in there.
It is. It's a great space, man. Jeremy's really cool to work with. It's comfortable. It's comfy. It's relatively easy. I had an absolute blast in Cypress Moon that day when you and Jared came out too, especially.
That was a cool room.
Sometimes
too,
when they got it going on. Studio B there inside Cypress
right?
Moon. Yeah, Jamie Sago,
Nice
and
guy.
I forget his partner's name. With Portside Sound. Jamie was great to work with, man. Just
I could tell.
super fun engineer to capture. Somebody I felt trust to bounce things off of. Whether or not I was going to take their advice, ultimately, it's nice having that thing because I basically produced it. And Chris Curry was like my co-producer. I think he went with me to every session except one. And he was one of the few people in my life that I could really trust.
Yeah.
With that role, and he was great with it too. He did because Chris had a big personality. You wanted, but he didn't try to take the helm or anything like that. Man, he's just really cool and really positive. And despite not feeling like I knew what I was doing at the time, like in hindsight, I kind of did. And learn a lot of things. Like sticking to your guns has been a big lesson for me. A lot of the times, the things that bother me about, maybe I should, maybe I should do this despite what people are saying. After the record comes out,
You should have done that.
I should have done that.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Some of the little, like, the mistakes don't even bother me as much.
Instance in mind that you're thinking about? Like, could you give us the spot in the song that you wish you'd have spoke up on?
Well, see, not so much with that first record because it was with some hired guns and I was making the calls, on the shots. I wish I would have maybe spent even more time on it, perhaps, or waited to get some. So there were certain background singers I had in mind for this like specific track, but that album I can't point to. More towards like band stuff before that. I don't want to throw any shade, but there are instances where I'm like, not just because it's my idea, like you should have listened to me, but like I'll hear other people's rhetoric, maybe from even like something like track listing, like this song should have been. It just
how much time do you spend on a track listing?
I mean, a good bit. Even on the way over here, I was thinking, man, which song's gonna be number one? Of course, I'm in now. The band that's with me is like my band. I'm in a band. It's not the Clayton Albrecht band.
Players,
Thank you, man. So I would take votes, but I spent a good amount of time thinking about it. What about you? The ride,
track listing.
The track listing, yeah.
That is one thing I have been pretty big on the albums that I've made. I'll burn CDs and see which order flows the best. Sometimes they just happen to be what you slap down first. Honestly,
yeah.
Like for this past album, we only like in order of tracking. Well, that made the record. The everything else portion of the last 10 songs on the CD were kind of just thrown in there because but the first 11 on the record. Basically made the record in order of tracking other than a couple up top on the A side. So we moved around a little bit, which was surprising to me.
I think it's important, man. I think the presentation is important.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. I mean, can you imagine?
I don't think people think about that very much anymore.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I mean, the format. Okay, so the format on vinyl. You didn't have it was harder to press a button to forward and reverse and shit on a cassette, on a CD. But so when you listen to vinyl, you start at the beginning of the album, push it all the way through.
Right.
Do you think that has changed now? Do you think that I thought that was a very important part of the format was, the sequence of your tracks on an album. Now on fucking CDs, that's ancient now. Now
I still love
on an album or on whatever. I mean,
I love my CDs.
They will come back.
Yeah, but the question I think is how I believe it's very important how you present that whole, the whole,
as an album.
As an album, right? And I mean, just concept albums, concept bands. You know what I mean? If they're not in order, they don't make any sense.
I know, right.
Yeah.
But even if each song is completely individual, I still think it's important the way it's tracked. You know what I mean?
Do you still listen? Do you still find yourself listening to the whole album? Like even if you're listening to something on it?
Depends on what I'm doing. If I specifically want to, I listen to music two ways. I listen to it, in the background, you know what I mean? Or I'll listen to it, for work. Like if I'm studying something, a guitar player or something like that, it'll be a specific thing I'm trying to hear, It's rare anymore that I have time to sit and appreciate a whole, when you listen to Wish You Were Here, listen to the whole album. Badass. That's like watching a movie or something, you know what I mean? It's the whole fucking thing. Or any piece of music,
you think people's attention spans have shortened over the years? Is that why singles are such a thing now? Do you think?
I think so. Yeah. I do. I think so, man. I think that technology has made everybody's, your
Everything's so
attention span's
disposable.
trained to do something different now, man.
All this, man, it bums me out. I feel like, well, you guys, I'd be preaching to the choir up here, but maybe not for the people out there. But like, I think the amount that that we're coming out with now because of the ease of recording and more so releasing music, which is awesome. This is a double-sided sword. I'm not trying to take away from people being able to immediately get it out there and document their work and share it with people. But to me, it's losing its specialness. Like, I'm just inundated with like peers dropping singles all the time. And I'll get back to them, especially like the artists like that I like actually really like. But more and more, sometimes like I don't. I'm just like, oh, that's cool. They come out with something new. Oh, so and so's coming out with a record. That's cool. It's like.
But really, man,
everybody is though.
When I was a kid, before MTV, before all that stuff, there was a mystique about a band, man. The information that you got to absorb was either out of a magazine, which or out of an album cover. You'd open it up, you see the pictures of them, all your lyrics would be in there, man. You put the album on, you'd listen to it, and then MTV came along, and more about every band member and every band and what they're about and what they're doing. And right about the time MTV came out, arena rock died. You know what I mean?
You lose the tangibility.
Right. There's no mystique. There's no,
you ain't ripping the cellophane, you ain't pulling the record out or the CD out of the jewel case and going,
yeah. I actually just smelled that
smell when you did that. That's part of the music.
Yeah,
I think so. To me, it is.
But we appreciate that. How many people you think appreciate that nowadays? And kids growing up nowadays, like, my kids, my grandkids, they don't do that. They whatever. They can get whatever they want to hear on a phone. They listen to it specifically. They're not,
Will they go to a show?
My grandkids, I don't know. They've never been to a show, and I don't see them enough to go, come on, let's go. I don't know, you know what I mean? I'm not going to Britney Spears myself. I ain't taking them, Great. My second great grandson, man, was born last week.
Congratulations, dude.
Great grandson, second great grandson.
Yeah.
Oh, yo.
You look good. Very good for great gramps, dude. Yeah. I'll tell you what.
Do you feel like musicians are there's more required of the musicians these days than just going and playing music and holding a room? Or do you feel like musicians are required to do it all, such as marketing, bring the crowd, handle all the everything else they need to do?
I think it's definitely become more on the musician, man. Everything has come, you know what I mean? And that's a good and a bad thing, you know what I mean? I mean, if you can record music and you can put it on platforms and you can promote your music, you know what I mean? That way, it's everything's changed so much. Not too many bands did that when I was a kid, at all, The DC scene, the whole Discord, Amakai and all that crap, they were doing that. They were promoting their own bands, and he started a label, and he did all that through letters. There was no computers doing it, you know what I mean? And he opened up avenues, meeting people, and there was a lot of like Scream's been around since early '80s, man. They just went down to Brazil and sold out 3 shows, man. They're still doing it.
Nice.
Did
you play with them?
No, I played with a bunch of guys. I played with the bass player and the drummer, the original drummer for those in different bands up in DC, yeah, and a guitar player, But those cats were self-promoting back when not a lot of people were. That was the punk scene, man. You know what I mean?
I didn't realize how big of a music scene that you were in Virginia area. How big it was. Like, you're telling me, like, from stories that I have heard from Bruce over here, like he you have met Chris Cornell. You have met Tom Morello. Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
And all these people are just playing in the clubs in Virginia.
Yeah.
I mean,
Morella wasn't. I didn't mean Morella through clubs. No, but Dave was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he was delivering pizzas, man. He was staying at Barrett. We were recording this guy Barrett Jones. Dude, he's out in Seattle now. Recorded the first time I recorded at that guy's studio was in his parents' house. He's like probably 17 or something. Then he moved to Arlington, Uptown Studios, and I think Dave was living with him. Grohl was. I don't know. We were in there recording. That's the first time I met Dave. He's in there, long before Nirvana. Probably before he was playing with Scream. You know what I mean? It was a long time ago. Yeah. But there was a scene up there. It was pretty cool. The scene up there was like that was, the hardcore punk and hardcore was pretty big on the East Coast. You know what I mean?
Those are some of my favorite shows. Like in high school, freshman year or so. Like, Mom used to drop me off at Southern Adventures, and there'd be like 4 or 5 hardcore bands playing. And it was $5 to get in, and it was just rock for 3 hours, 4 hours straight. And then you'd watch the bands break their shit down real fast, and the next guys would come in and set up. Yeah. And then it never sounded good, but it always felt good.
Yeah.
I miss those kind of shows. And Low Mill was the same way. Back when you had North Star playing, the Pink Spiders. Those were all like really fun shows. Man,
if you I saw so many like Bad Brains were fucking awesome to see live. Minor Threat and Black Market Baby, and
you were in like your adolescence, so like the perfect time. For
man.
Too. But dude, it was
like we missed the boat.
Those
a little
the
bit.
clubs, and the clubs. They were like piss holes, man. You know what I mean?
Even better.
And you had to buy the record to understand what the fuck anybody was singing. You ain't gonna hear it at the show. You know what I mean? Yeah, your ears are gonna be ringing, but you're not gonna know what the hell the vocals. You don't know.
Have you ever been crowd surfing?
Say what now?
Have you ever been crowd surfing?
Yeah.
That's one thing I don't care how old I get. I'm gonna go crowd surfing one day.
That's pretty cool.
Do it.
You want the finger up the butt right before you get dropped on the floor. It's a great time.
Now I don't feel like going crowd surfing
You can
anymore.
go to the doctor for that.
You ruined me on crowd surfing.
But I mean, that's the other thing, man. Like back in the day, we had when we were playing gigs, dude. You had to have an 800 JCM. You had to have a 100-watt amp. You know what I mean? To keep up,
to be heard over the drummer.
Everybody. That's how every band I played. Every band I saw and played in, everybody was using like big high-watt shit.
Clubs miking instruments at that point in time, or were they just
yeah, they were miking them, whether they put anything to the pay or not. You can't have a Marshall on 1.5 with a mic on it.
No,
800. But of course, you turn it down for the sound check, and as soon as he's not looking, crank it right back up.
Since I joined the game, that whole thing has changed.
As
far as it didn't matter how loud you used to be at the sports page. Everybody loved it. Then nobody cared. Nowadays, you gotta get that stage volume down.
You do, man.
Yeah.
And it's just.
And I mean, what I've got, it's like I want to hit the sweet spot on a 2-band.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? You can't hit a sweet spot.
Or a drummer to be able to feel like they're actually can.
And when drummer's got to, he wants to play
actually
play
like
way,
themselves.
So
it's a bummer, man. I think the expectations of just is because a lot of those people that mean like, oh, you're too loud. No, because you want to hear your drunk conversation, which is, and there's fairness there if we're going there and playing a bar,
Yep.
But there's sometimes I wonder, it's like, do you really want a live band? Like, you just might want an acoustic duo or something,
Well, there's clubs that are
rock and roll bands.
There's clubs that are set up for music.
Page is awesome,
and what they serve there, the food and the alcohol is not the primary thing. The music is, and then there's bars.
You're right.
Where you're the secondary. You're not the primary reason. You're in there so they can sell more alcohol. They can sell more shit. That's. And rightfully so, probably. How are you going to make money unless if your club is there to specifically support music? You know what I mean? You got to make money. You're having your band in the club because you want to bring people in there to drink your beer and shit.
It's a give and take. I think if it would help more of the expectation if everybody was upfront about it and explicit and like tiptoe around it. Just be honest.
Yeah,
be
straight
honest
up.
if you want a band that's a little more kind of caters to the background music thing.
Well,
know?
man,
be
there's-
honest if you want a cover band or
So check it out. I'm not going to name any clubs, but there are clubs in Huntsville. The rooms sound terrible. They sound terrible. Say what?
Talk about Mars, aren't you?
I'm not naming any clubs. I could name a lot of clubs, but I'm not naming any clubs.
That's
But
wise.
you dig what I'm saying, though, right? You know, it's like, okay. But you're playing in those bars because they want you in there so they can sell more alcohol. They didn't buy,
Right.
they didn't open the club to cater to music. They didn't think about doing anything for sound engineering in a
It
ring.
seems to
you
be
know?
a lot of those same clubs expect you to bring the entire crowd too.
Exactly.
Not just
You know what I
one big
mean?
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to promote it.
You're going to
And
promote
you're
it.
going to bring them all in there.
That's right.
And the more alcohol you sell, the more they're going to be calling you.
Yep.
They don't give a shit what you sound like. They give a
Exactly.
shit about their liquor sales, man. That's it.
But
Yeah.
you know, it's business.
Some of them.
Some of them do.
They're still just
But,
great.
but dude, okay, so DC, franchise players, we had 7 guys in that band. You know, we weren't making any money. But the first couple gigs we played, this handful of chicks came in and they loved us. And they got up dancing around. And these chicks were hardcore drinkers. And for every one chick that comes into a club, there's 7 guys that come in afterwards. You fast forward 2 months, we were packing places. The music wasn't even that great, but it was cool. It was like hip hop, dub reggae type stuff we were doing with 7 guys, highly percussive. We had a percussion player and a drummer, and we were packing places because women showed up, you know, and they were drinking like fish. So of course we get asked back, you know.
I don't notice the whole going out to listen to music and drink and have a good time crowd seems to be dwindling.
Well, it's younger, I think.
Well,
I do think it's
you got
younger,
that. Yeah,
you know.
you definitely got that.
A lot of people aren't drinking as much anymore either, or at all. Some people, they're just like cool.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
I
just-
can't.
I feel the shift, man, for sure. I'm still so grateful for what I've got a different perspective. I mean, like, I'm sure you not, and you're very grateful for what you have here in the scene. You're all like in general always talking positively about Huntsville and how special this thing is. And I think a lot of people take it for granted, which is going to happen. But
It is special, man.
I grew up in Lake County, Illinois, which is north of Chicago, and in Lake County was I was born in Waukegan, right next to Zion. Local H, you familiar with Local H?
Just that one song.
Copacetic, the
Yeah.
Copacetic song, yeah,
That's
Bound
right.
for the Floor, cool tune. That duo was from Zion, Illinois, where my mom had her first house. Tom Morello and Adam Jones went to Libertyville High School, Libertyville in Lake County, Illinois. And Chevelle, the lead singer, lived like 2 doors down from one of my homies in high school near Gurney or Grays Lake, and like no venues around there, nowhere for kids. If there was one place, Swing State, and they've long since closed. Otherwise, it was even a lot of the bars don't have live music here. And there's a reason so many people went to LA. I mean, Chicago is like a state in of itself, and I should have spent more time there, but I haven't. And I've lived other places in the country. I've never been anywhere like here, where there's the talent level for original
we're so
music and
fortunate.
writers and bars that
Yeah.
host it. Super cool.
I've been a lot of places, as y'all have, and there are but a couple that I could say I could do what I do and make a living.
Yeah.
I'm just very thankful and grateful to be where I'm at, doing what I'm doing. And a lot of that is still the people that support me for what I do. Also, you know, if it weren't for my fans and the people that support me, then maybe it'd be a different story. But Huntsville has so many places that you can just go, and if you're good at your job playing music, you can sustain yourself.
Yeah. Huntsville's definitely magic. I've been around. That's why I can't. That's why I visited here and fell in love with it and moved back. And even when I couldn't find any work, I moved back up to DC. it was up in D.C. until I could find something to do to make more money down in Huntsville because I didn't want to be up there anymore. There's a scene up there, you know, but it's different. And there's as far as the working, you know, you got it's from Richmond all the way up to Manhattan now. You know, the towns are close enough together on the East Coast there. You know, it's feasible, but it's a lot of driving.
Yeah.
And it's not in Huntsville. There's so many places within 10 minutes of each other. You know what I mean? You don't get that everywhere.
No.
You know, and there's something, man. There's something about.
It's still a music hungry city, I think.
Yeah, but there's something about the vibe in Huntsville that's different than a lot of cities, man. You know, it's a good vibe. It's really, really cool. You know, yeah.
Fellas, it's been good chat.
Yeah, man. It's been a good chat.
Yeah.
This is Bruce Krombholz, Clayton Albrecht.
Gus Hergert. Hey, hitting 5 o'clock, Charlie, and Otis playing somewhere this weekend.
Right? Valley Conservatory with
Yep.
Taylor
Yeah,
Swift.
Taylor
Yeah.
version. Yeah, with the Valley.
Yeah.
Or with some renovations, if not.
Yeah, they just got the studio. I think they put some walls, nice floors in there.
Yeah.
Billy's got that studio looking great. So be sure to check out the Valley Conservatory studio.
Yeah, man.
Definitely got it going on up in there.
Well, right on.
Thank you, Ben, for having
Thank
us.
you, Ben.
Oh,
For
here,
a
Ben.
cool show.
Thank you for putting up with us.
Thank you for having us, Ben. And thank y'all for everybody out there listening. We're just shooting the shit, and we hope you enjoyed the conversation. Catch you
All
next
right,
time.
yeah.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.